Sensuality is an enriching experience that transcends mere physical touch. It invites us to explore openness and vulnerability, creating deeper connections with others. By engaging in mindful touch, we enhance our awareness of each other's desires and boundaries. This practice cultivates intimacy as it encourages honest communication and emotional safety. Each caress becomes a dialogue between bodies, transcending words and allowing us to connect on a profound level. Embracing the art of sensuality fosters trust, reigniting passion and curiosity in relationships. It's a journey of discovery, inviting us to celebrate the beauty of human connection through the transformative power of touch.
Hey, amazing listeners. Welcome to Pledge Principle. We dive deep into the art of living a soulful, joyful, and purpose-filled life. I'm your host, Avik, and here to shake things up, spark curiosity, and explore the life's most profound questions with a twist of fun and authenticity. So today's episode is an absolute gem, I would say. So we are talking about meditation, mindfulness, and how to tap into your eternal self with someone who truly lives what he teaches. Yes. Joining us is Blair Abee. So welcome to the show, Blair.
Vic, I'm so glad to be here today.
Lovely, lovely. So Blair, before we start our conversation, I'd quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Blair is the author, poet, educator, and what I did call an ordinary mystic with extraordinary insights. Yes. So his journey is nothing sort of inspiring, like from developing his unique higher consciousness meditation practice after facing life altering challenges to exploring what it means to be a five-dimensional being. So get ready for some mind expanding conversations, tools for the growth, and for a whole lot of aha moments. So why to wait? Let's get started. Welcome to the show again.
It's lovely to be here speaking halfway across the world.
Yeah, exactly. So Blair, your story is fascinating, I would say. And from there, how did that difficult chapter in your career inspire you to develop that higher consciousness meditation? So if you can share.
Yes. Well, briefly, the story is that I took a significant promotion to move from one side of the country to another, from North Carolina to California. I took a high-level job only to find that my boss was a psychopath. I mean, I'd never had a terrible boss before, but in this situation, after a little bit less than a year, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't deal with it anymore. And I went to the authorities and let them know that was what was going on. They did an investigation. She was fired, but they fired me too. They said I was a troublemaker. Well, I guess I did make trouble for them, but that ended an almost 30-year career and was really depressing, life-altering. And I took a deep dive into my meditation practice for therapy, really. I had been doing yoga and meditation for almost 40 years. But I'd have to say that I'd only reached a certain level of illumination, inspiration. And in this deep dive, I really ended up touching into that place that I would call higher consciousness or my eternal beingness or my soul. And as a result of the journaling that I was doing and the healing work that I was doing, I began to get a sense that spirit was just kind of moving through my fingers and onto the keyboard night after night after night with realizations that I just never dreamed of. And that was the basis, really, of the books that I've written and the other work that I've done. And it included developing higher consciousness meditation.
Mm.
I came to the realization that yes, in fact, I was a human being and a three-dimensional being, but that I was also a five-dimensional being or a spirit,
Mm.
occupying a body, driving it around, um, kind of hypnotized from birth to being my humanness, but that was a very limiting way of seeing and knowing myself, and I kind of felt like I woke up.
Ah, okay. Okay. So, I mean, you describe as five-dimensional beings on an eternal journey. So, what does that actually mean in our day-to-day lives?
Well, day to day, we're born on the planet Earth. This is not an easy place to be,
Hmm.
and we live our lives, and we're really not exposed much to um, higher forms of spiritual understanding. At least I wasn't in my youth, even though I went to church and all of that.
Okay.
And the people that I was associated with, they didn't really know
Hmm.
a lot about this sort of thing. They certainly didn't understand soul contact, because they had never experienced that themselves. And it really wasn't until I had this, awakening experience that I could see from a really different perspective. And I knew myself from a very different perspective. And that sense of awakeness or awareness um, just it permeates my life now. And I kind of feel a lot of times like I'm just illumined, like I'm just lit up from the inside, the internal splendor, as some would call it. Um, the kingdom of heaven within, as others would term it. Um, and when you've kind of shifted consciousness, all of a
Yeah,
sudden life just takes on a whole different meaning. It's almost as if I was operating in black and white, and now I'm operating in color.
exactly. I can understand. So, um, also, like, we all hear about meditation. So, meditation is widely praised, but some find it kind of overrated. So, what's your take on the skeptics who feel it doesn't work? So, what do you say?
I understand. Well,
Mhm.
there's a couple of levels of that. First is that it can be at first difficult to meditate because you have to just get quiet,
Yeah.
and you have to quieten your mind out. And most people aren't used to that. In fact, they're used to the chatter, 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 of of the mind's chatter, commenting on everything, casting
Mhm.
back to the past, trying to figure out what the future is going to be like instead of just being in the moment. And of course, that's what meditation and mindfulness does. Is it begins to get you or bring you into the moment. It begins to allow you some space there between that chatter, 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 and just an experience of silence. Now, the next level of that
Yeah.
is an experience of spirit, is an experience not of just the mind getting quiet, but of
Mm.
spirit starting to flow through, and a spirit starting to, I don't know, enliven, um, enliven what I see out there, enliven what is happening in here.
Yeah.
And it's really again, it's like that, dark and light. It's an experience of being illumined or of being, I wouldn't call it enlightened. I wouldn't say that I've had that experience in a sustained way, but I would
Mm.
say illumination is the best way I could term the experience of waking up using meditation, not just as a way to get quiet, but as a way to illumine yourself, or have an experience of spirit and five-dimensional reality, and even oneness with the all, or with God, as somebody would say, as some people would term it.
Exactly. I understood. Yeah. Yeah. So, and so from the listener's perspective, like listeners might wonder that is soul contact real, or just an abstract idea. So how can someone know that they are truly making that connection?
Yes.
Mhm.
When you have that experience, it's obvious. When you have that experience, um, you know. Now, what you're tapping into is something that is, it's not tangible, it's really um, uh, intangible, but as real as any other experience, and it comes from the experience of having it. So you either are or you aren't tapped into soul. You either have an experience of your soul or you don't. It's sort of an on-off kind of situation. But once you begin to experience that, it's like you can't. You want to do it more and more and more and more because it just your whole life begins to have a different quality to it.
Exactly. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. So, uh, you teach sacred sense of mindfulness practices. So, how do
Yes.
they differ from, more popular techniques? So, are there any really necessary?
Well, what I can say about sacred senses, and we all have senses, sight,
Yeah.
taste, touch, feel, hearing.
Hmm.
But from a five-dimensional perspective,
Hmm.
sacred seeing is the ability to look at another person and see the soulness in them or see the higher consciousness in them. There are times that I go to a grocery store, I pause before I go in, I just take a breath, I rise up in consciousness, if you will, and I walk in, and all of a sudden the grocery store is lit up. Now, that's not a normal experience. It wasn't a normal experience for me way back when, but it becomes a more common experience by using your sacred sight or using sacred taste, which is being quiet enough as you eat
Hmm.
to taste the exquisite
Okay.
flavor
Hmm.
that a piece of fruit might have, for example, and to savor it, and to be grateful, for it and for the experience of it. So there's, seeing normally, and then there's sacred seeing. There's tasting normally, and then
Hmm.
there's sacred tasting. There's being able to hear the essence of what somebody is saying when they're talking to you in terms of being able to hear things,
Hmm.
and the higher frequency that comes with uh, just having that experience or touching a higher sense of awareness, and then being able to take in input from the outside and have it be a spiritual experience.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So, also, like, you claim humanity is simultaneously evolving and devolving also. So, can you unpack that contradiction, like what it means for us?
Understand. It's interesting. Next week, the planet Pluto enters into the sign of Aquarius, and it's really going to be the beginning of the Aquarian age, where transformation and is going to occur over a 30-year period of time. And you can kind of feel it here in the States because we've had a recent election where we've chosen, unfortunately, to kind of go into the darkness. But at the same time, there's a real sense of people rising up in their awareness or rising up in their consciousness as a result. So, in the States, I think our humanity is kind of, there's a part of us that's kind of devolving, but there's another group of us, if you will, that's becoming, I don't know, tapped in, turned on, enlightened, sense of light workers ready to enliven what is
Hmm.
otherwise a kind of a dark experience that we're having.
Hmm. Got
And I think that's happening worldwide. I mean, there's a whole push toward um, authoritarianism, yet there's a whole push towards spirituality at the same time. And I think this Pluto in Aquarius is really going to shift consciousness of all of us in the next 30 years, and I'm really looking forward to this time. Although it can be a difficult time as well.
Yeah. Okay. And your best possible outcomes, the process for manifestation is intriguing. So how does it work, and I mean, what
Yes,
makes it unique compared to the other manifestation techniques?
have studied manifestation for a number of years and have tried a number of different techniques. And what I found was that none of them really satisfied me. And I often have conversations with my higher self, with my soul, and I do journaling and I writing and so forth. And one evening, as I was writing and I was thinking about and kind of asking for some help with manifestation, I sort of got a feeling of a download of this process that I call the best possible outcomes process. And let me just kind of give you a demonstration of how it works. It's simple. I mean, as simple as can be. It's a process that goes like this. I ask for the best possible outcome
Hmm.
as it relates to my need for transportation, let's say.
Okay.
Pause, get quiet,
Hmm.
take a breath, and get a sense that your higher self has engaged. Often it's a kind of a breath or or an enlightened or a lit up feeling that soul has entered the situation, and basically I then thank higher consciousness for its participation in my life. Now that sounds really simple, but it's actually quite profound. And what it does is, instead of trying to figure out with my mind how I'm going to manifest stuff or put it on a storyboard or use all these other techniques, really what I'm doing is asking for the best possible outcome for everybody involved, and doing that in such a way as I'm turning it over to higher consciousness or to spirit to bring me that which I need and am asking for. And it might be that I need a truck, not a car. And it might be that I need something different than I think. And often what happens in using that, and you can use it for anything, is the outcome is better than I could have imagined. You can use it for finding parking places, and you can use it for finding a job.
Yeah.
There are many things that you can use such a technique for.
Hmm. That's really, really great. Yeah. And also, like, gratitude is often called a cure all. So is it really that transformative, or are we overhyping its effects?
Understand.
Mhm.
What I would say about gratitude is kind of the same thing I would say about meditation, and that is when you practice gratitude, when you're thankful for things. And sometimes I'm just thankful for everything that's around me, everything that surrounds me, for breathing, for the sunshine. Just what happens is your frequency
Yeah.
increases, your vibratory rate increases, you rise up in consciousness. And what's likely to happen is that good things are likely to be attracted to you, because like attract like. The law of manifestation is that like attracts like. So if you're at a high rate of vibratory rate or a frequency, you're likely to attract good things, good people, good circumstances. Um, and that's, I think, the benefit of meditation. But you have to understand that that is how it works, and therefore you have to
Hmm.
put yourself in a state of consciousness that has gratitude work for you.
Yeah. Okay. That's really, really interesting, I would say, and it's very, very important. Thank you so much for sharing this, and also it's definitely an incredible conversation, I would say, Blair. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your practices, and your inspiring journey. I think that we have all gained a little more clarity on how to connect with our higher selves and live more meaningful lives. So, and to all listening, I hope that you have found some nuggets of the wisdom you can start applying right away. So, and do not forget to check out Blair's book and books and his work. It's a treasure trove of insight and practical tools for the personal transformation. So, Blair, like if someone wants to connect with you, how they can connect?
Yes. They can go to Amazon Books and they can find my books there. You can also get a free copy of my mindfulness book if you like by just going to my website, which is highcmeditation.com. That's HI capital C meditation.com, and just get a free copy of the book. And we can put it in the show notes and people can take advantage of that as well.
Wow, that's awesome, I'd say. Great, great. Thank you. So, if dear listeners, if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. So it helps us to reach more curious minds like yours. So until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and always take care of your mind, body, and the soul. So this is your host Avik signing off from Pleasure Principles. Catch you next time. So thank you so much.
Namaste.